Hi, hello, welcome to Directly to You. It's the 130th episode. I didn't mess it up. I thought I was.
Hey,
anyway,
look at that. You did
we're
it.
fanatixfour. Directly to You is our podcast. Us individually, I am AJ. I'm joined by Parker. We talk about video games and whatnot, and you can support that by going to youtube.com/fanatixfour or twitch.tv/fanatixfour, where I stream now.
Yeah.
And we're going to have freaking dope emotes working on it right now, my guy. It's going to be hype. It's going to be hype. I'm telling you. Also, thank you to the people that subscribed during our return stream that Parker joined in on at the tail end.
I did.
People in Among Us. I'll
get to that.
I murdered Parker by accident.
It's true.
Well, I guess we talk about that in the game section.
Yeah,
but anyway, you can do that with Amazon Prime or with $4.99. You know, it's a great time. Or Prime Gaming, it's called now. I'm never going to remember that. But anyway, you can also get access to, you get in addition to the emotes, the loyalty badges, the free Switch keys, the gaming time with us from time to time, you know, all that stuff. You get access to our supporters only Discord where you could talk about whatever you want, you know, just like freaking bare your soul, dude. And talk to, okay, what do you think? You think Duncan redeemed himself? Can Duncan have his shout out back, or do I still give it to Chicago?
You can give it to whoever you want to, but everybody in supporters is a wonderful person. I saw Youth Hurt is in there now.
True.
What's up?
It's true. What's up?
So
what's up?
We're
also we have more subscribers and stuff that aren't in the supporters Discord. So like, if you're a subscriber, you know, just join in. You know, use your right as a subscriber. But also, you could join the subscriber regardless of if you give us money or not. You could join our Discord in the link in the description, and you could talk to Duncan there. You know, you could talk to Duncan. Gets a shout out for the regular, like, you know, the general Discord.
There you go.
That's where his shout out is.
Seems
He's been demoted. Yeah, we play video games. You've been playing any video games that's not Among Us? Because I guess we'll talk about that last.
Sure. Well, let's just talk about it now. Why not? You know, because we were just talking about Twitch stuff. Yeah, we played Among Us for a minute. You played a lot longer than I did, and I joined in right there at the end.
Yeah, we played with a bunch of people on Twitch. You played with, like, you know, Beat 'em Ups and Bob and Guy with the Hair and freaking Misclick and Spawn Wave. It was a whole lot of people, dude. It was a lot of people. Dreamcast guy was there. I'm trying not to forget people, you know, but it was a lot.
Jordan? I can't remember if you said Jordan.
Jordan. We played with all those people, and it was a great old fun time. People got murdered. People were betrayed. Parker.
It's true, yeah. So here's the thing that I was just about to say. I mentioned this after the fact. I realized right after that I had your stream up. Like, I wasn't even looking at it or anything. And I was like, oh, man, I could have just totally seen the whole time if I wanted to that AJ was the murderer. If anybody doesn't know what Among Us is, it's pretty much Mafia. Not like the video game Mafia, but like if you played Mafia like Youth Group or whatever. That's the context I played it in the most. But it's pretty much like that, where you're like going around, somebody kills somebody, and you have to figure out who it was and all that. But it was literally like, I saw that you guys were streaming at some point. Ashley and I were hanging out on the couch and watching The Office, and I was like, oh, let me check out on AJ on the stream. And I was there for like 2 minutes. I was like, this seems like fun. AJ, let me know the next time you're doing this and I can join. And you were like, want to join now? And then there we were. That's the how games work when they look fun, you know?
I need to just like, I usually just automatically assume like, no, he's busy, dude. Yeah,
I mean, that's a reasonable assumption.
But I'll hit you up and be like, yo, we're doing this. If you want to join, feel free.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were like, we need more people, and I was like, you know what? I got just the people.
Just the people.
Yeah. And then we set that up, you know. It's a good old time. Wood is a big fat liar. Spawn Wave he just defaults to being like, yeah, I'm the murderer, dude. So I never trust him. And in the worst way possible. Like, I think the strat is that it's like, well, he always says he's the murderer, so like, I can't really believe that. But like,
poker
he
face
always says he's the murderer, so I always think that he probably is. You know, like, that's where I'm usually at with
I mean, it seems like both of their strats too were the like fairly common strat in Mafia or whatever as well, of start accusing people like right away. and then it'll like, take some blame off yourself. But the tricky thing is like, I feel like the better you know the people in the group, the easier it is to like worm your way through things. Right. And like manipulate people in certain ways. So
I think that messed me up with you specifically.
Yeah.
Because when you were like, you didn't understand the report thing, I was like, is he the murderer? Like, because that just feels like something that you're like, yeah, you guys are right. I messed up. But you were just like, nah, I just didn't understand it. And I was like, oh, okay, well.
Which is legitimately true. It was like, oh, there's a button you can press right now. I was like, oh, I'll press a button right now. There it is. So yeah, Among Us, it was fun. It was a good time. I literally was playing it on my phone. Like what? Same. Oh, okay. How are you streaming it from your phone?
I plugged it. It's coincidentally the easiest way to do it. It turns out.
Interesting.
I just plugged my phone into my computer. My Elgato software is like, oh, well, actually, I was using Streamlabs. It's like, hey, your phone's plugged in. And the problem with Streamlabs, see, this is the thing. The Elgato software, it's better in some ways for streaming the iPhone because it gets its audio. The Streamlabs does not. But Streamlabs is better specifically for my setup because I don't have to use Logic for my audio.
Okay, but you're right.
For Elgato, I had to use Logic for my audio because my mic is mono.
Okay.
And it doesn't
so then it comes
down-mix
in.
it. Yeah, it doesn't down-mix it in Elgato software, but Streamlabs does. So I can just use Streamlabs.
I think there's a way to do that. Oh, there's a way to do that in OBS. You didn't say OBS. You said
Streamlabs OBS does it.
Oh,
but
okay, gotcha,
Elgato software doesn't. Yeah, so like dumb. I need to see if it's weird. It doesn't make sense to me that loopback specifically, which is like a virtual interface situation, that doesn't have a way to down mix the mono or to mono.
Mono a mono, as they say.
Exactly.
They say that
all
the time.
It's kind of weird that they don't have that option, but they do not.
Yep.
So, but anyway.
So after that inside baseball, Among Us is fun.
It's true.
Yeah. What else you been playing?
Did I play literally anything this week? I mean, I probably played Smash Bros at some point. I need to start playing freaking Paper Mario again, dude. I want to.
How far? You're on the blue one or something? Right?
I'm on the blue one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you got a little ways to go.
I know.
That's honestly me and like Luigi's Mansion. I want to finish, but there's a couple of games.
The 8th floor on Luigi's Mansion.
That's around where I'm like 2, maybe 3 floors past that, but not by a whole lot. So there's a bunch of games that like I've resigned to like, I played that one for a bit. It was what it was, but I've put it aside. Like Skyrim or whatever. I played like 25 hours of Skyrim and then I just like kind of put it away. But then there's some games that I'm like, no, I'm gonna finish that one. Luigi's Mansion is one of those. Okami, Ni no Kuni. So okay, that's something I played a little bit of this week. I cleared out my backlog because I finished Spiritfarer. I'll talk about that in a second, I guess, too. And I was like, I should play some Ni no Kuni and try to like finish it up. And played just a little bit, but like it's been a bit since I played it, so I've forgotten some of the things that I'm doing, and I don't know. I just don't know if I'm going to totally finish that game. It doesn't really have me super entranced. But I know that Pocket, one of our subscribers, every time is like, you got to finish it, man. And I'm like, I want to, but I might just look up how the story ends otherwise, because like I think that's the main thing. It's like the story is like touching or whatever. But
wow, dude.
But like so far, it seems not predictable.
You're cheating
but like
yourself and the game.
I was like, there was one battle that ended up being kind of hard going back because I kind of forgot what I was doing. So I was like, I'm just flipping on easy mode. I don't even care anymore. Like I'm just trying to get through the end because like I get the idea. So, but in any case, that game, played just a bit of it. We'll see what happens. But I did play some more Spiritfarer. Well, I finished Spiritfarer. I didn't complete it all the way. Like there's still, you can finish it you don't have to bring everybody to the Everdoor and stuff and like finish everybody's quests for you to be able to finish your quest, which I thought was a bit odd in some regards. Yeah, a little bit, because it's like, well, what about all those other people? But I guess they were just like, okay, well, now you've seen all the things. And like,
I helped enough people, dude. I don't need to help nobody else.
That's how I feel. So when it gave me the option, I was like, yeah, I guess I'll do the finish the game bit. But it kind of feels like, when when KK Slider comes in Animal Crossing, where it's like, it's the end, quote unquote, but there's more things to do. There's just not as many more things to do as in Animal Crossing, obviously, after that. So at some point I might go back and like tie up some loose ends, but for the most part, yeah, it's great. Same comments as all the last times. If you haven't heard me talk about Spiritfarer, just look up pretty much any other reviews, and I agree with pretty much all the ones that are out there. It's a fun game. It's within the Stardew Valley Animal Crossing kind of world, with like tiny bits of Metroidvania things, just as far as like you gain some new power-ups, as far as like your character movement, that when you like go to different islands, there could be an area that you see that you can't get to, and then later you're in like a glide or something like that, and then that'll allow you to get to it. Those kinds of things. So it's fun. I like it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've played this week. But we're looking forward to playing lots of stuff this holiday.
What? They can announce games, dude. Who would have ever thought,
Yeah.
You know what? Okay, so here's a comment that I freaking hate.
Yeah.
That I'm like realizing more and more as time moves on. Because there's always the mainstays of comments that I don't like. Such as you're making our expectations too high. That comment,
right? Yeah.
The comment of like, there's more comments that I can't even think about right now because I'm too mad about this comment specifically. I freaking hate the "this age well" comments.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
People are acting like I'm like trying to say like this for sure is going to happen. It's like this is a prediction video and not like I think this would be neat, So like people are just commenting that on the 2020 video of me like this aged well, and now immediately after the last two announcements, they made two freaking announcements, and now people are like, I don't know, this might be the best year since 2017. Like, are you kidding me, dude? I better see every single and the same thing happened on the Sonic video. The Sonic video that I made for the 20th anniversary of it being like Mario didn't even have a good 20th anniversary. And like, we don't know. The year's not over yet. So then somebody replied to somebody's comment being like, this didn't age well. And they're like, and I replied to that comment being like, I will refrain from putting the SpongeBob font of like, this didn't age well, like that crap. I hate that comment so much. It's like
it is funny too, because like it does feel like sometimes it's become a meme comment too. But like I noticed yesterday or something, somebody commented on the video I did last week, which the intro was the whole like, so I'm recording this on Wednesday, but on Thursday it sounds like Mario 35th anniversary stuff's going to happen, but who really knows? And then somebody said like that intro didn't age well, and I'm like, I kind of actually, it sort of did though.
Yeah, right? It's like, what are you talking about?
In a real sense, it didn't. If I hadn't included that, then the video would be more evergreen. That's true. So like that, in that sense, it didn't age well as far as an evergreen product, but it just tickled me that I'm like, but I don't think you understand how that works. Like, yeah.
So he took it as like next week, like it already happened, dude.
Yeah, right, exactly. But it's funny. In any case, like, so the topic
comment is dumb. Don't leave dumb comments.
But do leave comments, because everybody who's listening to this leaves great comments.
But just try not to leave dumb ones. And you know what? We're talking to people that leave good comments.
It's true.
But like, do your best to dissuade the people that leave dumb comments from leaving more dumb comments in the future. That's what I'm going to say. If you see a dumb comment, reply and say, this comment could be better. Don't outright say it's dumb. Don't say that, because that's kind of mean. Unless, I'll say it. If you don't want to, if you're like me and you don't mind being mean, go ahead. But, in the nicest way possible, say this is a stupid comment. But anyway, continue with what you were going to say.
So yeah, the main topic. This week we got an announcement for Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity, which rounds out. Now there's announcements for games in September, October, and November. First-party games from Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch. And there's more third-party stuff that's going to be announced, and some more that is announced that we're going to talk about a little bit later too.
Is there a November game?
Yeah, Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. November 20th.
Oh, that comes out November? I thought it came out in freaking like October.
Nope.
But yeah.
Sure don't. But I mean, there is a big gap between September 18th and October 30th, but whatever, who cares?
We'll probably see another game, but who knows?
It's possible. I feel like, I mean, at this point, it's
because I mean, it could like their like big holiday play could be like the hardware side of things in the same way that like in the past their big holiday play was like the classics consoles and stuff, but it still feels like they want to have like a big software play, and if it's not their holiday game, I could see it being like March next year.
Wait, I don't quite get what you're saying.
Like,
what
I
would be
could
March
see
next year?
I can see them like at the start of 2020 being like, all right, this is like
start of 2021.
Breath of the Wild 2, November, and then that got kicked down the year or down the hall.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And they're like, all right, now it's March 2021. I can see them having that situation going on.
I mean, I think for Breath of the Wild 2 specifically, because of Hyrule Warriors coming out this holiday, I don't really see them. I'm kind of expecting Breath of the Wild 2 to be more like summer or holiday of next year or whatever, but I'm also very fine with that right now because it means
also summer's like not that far from March.
No, it's not. Yeah, I'm thinking, I mean, in the sense of like July or August or something along those lines. But yeah, so they announced Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. So I mean, the one question before we get into the game specifically is like, is this like, how do we feel about this holiday and like what there is on offer for new fans and for existing fans? What are your thoughts?
For existing fans, so existing fans are hard because there's always going to be like the maxes, right? Where it's like 2018 had nothing for me, or a lot of 2020 had nothing for me. It's hard to please those people. But new fans, I think that there's a lot of. I mean, it's true. It's true because freaking Smash Brothers is the third best-selling game of the year. But him being like the year that game came out, bad year. The third best-selling game on the platform.
Right.
But yeah, that game came out that year, man. Like. But for new fans, and also like me, where it's like that's my favorite year because of that game. But that year also sold a lot of people on the Switch to begin with. So in essence, it's their favorite year too. It's their Breath of the Wild thing, right? Because Breath of the Wild existed for them and they're like, it's cool and everything, but I'm not buying a console for that. But they bought a console for Smash, Yeah. So I think that it's kind of that situation where the remasters is like the straw that break the camel's back sort of situation where it's like, I want this, but I need this thing to be announced. And whether that be the prequel for Breath of the Wild with the Hyrule Warriors sequel, which is a weird distinction. Like it's both a prequel and also a sequel. Very strange. Or at least a follow-up. But like it could be that of like I wanted more plot for Breath of the Wild before I jumped into that game. Blah blah. I heard people complaining about that. Or it be the Mario remaster. Or even if you got kids and you're like freaking Mario Kart Live, I'm down, dude. So yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff being announced that's like that, the straw that broke the camel's back. Not a lot of stuff that like the diehards are like chomping at the bit for, other than maybe the Mario and Zelda stuff. But that depends on how big of Mario and or Zelda fans they specifically are. Like if you don't really care about one or the other, it's like whatever. Like I only care a little bit about the Hyrule Warriors sequel because I don't care at all about Hyrule Warriors product provided by Nintendo. But like I'm down to learn more about like the lore surrounding Breath of the Wild. Like I like that game. So I'll probably play it for that. But if I didn't care about that, I wouldn't buy this game or ask Nintendo for it. I don't know.
Yeah. I think honestly, I mean, like you said, and like I think the Hyrule Warriors, for example, doesn't feel like a system seller for me.
Yeah.
But it feels like the perfect game for us, like the existing Switch audience. I mean, for me, you know, and not even because, like, again, I've said so many times now that I don't even so far care about the Hyrule Warriors or the just Warriors gameplay style or whatever, but like just having a completely new game that's like it will bolster excitement for future things as well as like being exciting in and of itself, and like reinforces
make you want to like replay the original.
And it's like, you know, watching theory videos or that kind of thing where it's like it's fun to watch a theory video on The Matrix or something, because then the next time you watch The Matrix, it's the same exact movie but you see it in a different light, and like that's just always fun to like have a different spin on things. So then knowing this stuff. So but all that to say, like, yeah, I can't, if somebody doesn't have a Switch, I can't imagine them seeing Hyrule Warriors and being like, oh yeah, I wanted to play Hyrule Warriors itself, but it didn't bother. And I wanted to play Breath of the Wild, but didn't bother. But this is the game. You know what I mean? Like, this is definitely a game for the existing fan base. But I think Mario 3D Remaster still is the game. Like, if something's going to get new people in the door specifically on its own merit, then I think it would be Mario 3D Remasters. Or it's Mario 3D Collection. But I do think that all of these things together are straws that broke the camel back, and they're things that like mean that people in our sphere and people, all of you guys listening, will be more likely to recommend the Switch to friends because you're actually excited. The thing.
Like, I think that Hyrule Warrior, like, they're both that, but in different ways.
Yeah.
Like, if Anila didn't already have, my niece didn't already have a Switch, the 3D remasters would be the thing that like my sister would see and be like, oh, I'm buying this thing.
Yeah, right.
But Hyrule Warriors, like Age of Calamity would be the thing that's like the like super gaming fan is like telling their friend like Breath of the Wild's cool, but like the story is bad and blah blah blah. Like, now that there's more lore, they can then go to their friend and be like, oh yeah, no, maybe check out Breath of the Wild because now the lore is like filled out, you know, like that sort of thing. So like it can be that, but for different audiences.
You know what? Okay, I talked about this in my video a little bit, and like the more I think about it, the more I think it's true. We give Breath of the Wild a lot of crap for having a bad story or what? Not bad story, but just like thin story. Yeah, I don't necessarily. I mean, I mentioned it in the video, but like, I don't really care that much. I still liked it. And like, it would be cool. It's one of those things that on its own merit, I do want to know more about all of this stuff that we're finding out about now. But like, in and of itself, it was fine. But again, like I mentioned, like Hollow Knight and Dark Souls and games like that like tell there's no cut scenes of like past things that happened. There's, you know, none of those memories or whatever. And it's all told contextually. You talk to NPCs and they're like speak through riddles and blah, blah, blah. Like that's the whole story of Breath of the Wild, is through those kinds of things. And then some with the memories. And like, maybe the memories just felt too much like teases towards story. I guess, you know, where it's like, if you're going to go part of the way, maybe then you should go the whole way or something like that. I don't know. But I think it's funny, in any case, that even like environmentally that you see, like Zeltic does a lot of great videos that's like Zelda theories, but like specifically the Breath of the Wild theories about like, I think this is what happened at the Akala Citadel or Akala whatever it is. And it's just based on like the way that
like environmental storytelling and like
and like the way like some guardians are placed and stuff like that, and like what walls have fallen down. It's like these people obviously did this to them, you know. It's like the whole what's that in Princess Bride? Princess Bride, where the people whatever, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But like where the guy's retracing the steps of like how they sword fight it or something like that, and it's funny. So all that
I think that I prefer that. It like a lot of people, and more often than not, it's like already like existing like traditional Zelda fans, and they're like, this isn't a Zelda game in this way, so therefore it's inferior or whatever, right? I prefer it to like the storytelling just across the board, not even as a Zelda game. I would prefer if story in games was something that you had to seek out, because otherwise it's just a like a bad imitation of a movie. Like,
Right.
I don't need you to inject story through another medium when you have this whole other medium that the whole like appeal to it is that it's engaging and interactive for you to be like, okay, I need to like force feed you story, sit still for 5 minutes, you know, or in the super story games, here's 5 hours of cutscenes,
like a Death Stranding situation or whatever, where like, it's super narrative, but it's like
the final cutscenes 45 minutes. I don't need that. I don't need that.
I think the final one in Death Stranding is 2 hours, no joke.
Yeah,
I think I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure
insane. And also, like, ironically, like, and I know people are gonna like, people that like, you know, drink the Kool-Aid are gonna disagree with this, but it's bad storytelling. It's bad storytelling to have to force your story like that.
I don't know that it's in and of itself bad storytelling. I think it's poorly using the medium that you have,
which is bad storytelling.
So like
if
I think you're turning it into a movie. Like it's part game, part movie, as opposed to like
you're painting, and you're using
or better example. You ready?
Better and
so if you're playing Pictionary, there's reasons that you're not allowed to write words to like get people to guess what you have to like actually draw the thing, and if you use words you're cheating because you're using another medium. So like
exactly
same kind of thing. It's like draw a good picture and it's a good picture. Like
like you're taking a shortcut to something that's like you're not using the tools that you have to craft your story.
And on that note, go ahead.
Almost no game does it well, and that's why the games that have a lot of story and the ones that are like lauded as like these are great story games and everybody to follow this example are just the ones that do what we already know of, because nobody figured out how to use interactivity for a really, really good story. It's just people use interactivity for things that are like, oh, this is a good spin on a existing way to tell stories in a different medium, like in Until Dawn, right, where it's like there's certain segments of that game where if you're scared, like you're hiding away from something and you're scared because you might die and you're holding your controller, if you shake your controller too much you're going to get found, you know, like that sort of thing. It's like that's using interactivity to engage with the story in a way, but at the same time it's still using like cutscenes and quick time events rather than actually using the gameplay of the game at large to engage with story. But yeah, I prefer if it's like using the exploration of Breath of the Wild to learn the story of Breath of the Wild rather than it being like, here's a cutscene.
Yep. And I think, I mean, this is something that everybody else has talked about at this point, including me in the video, but like the whole, this is a war, it's a Warriors game. And that, like, I want to talk about that a little bit more than I briefly mentioned it in the video. Cause like, especially I think there's these characters that obviously they want to be more fleshed out of the champions. So Daruk, Mifa, Urbosa, and all that, and Rivali. I said all that as if there were more than just one left. But I think
but he doesn't matter. He's just fake Falcon.
That's true. If this had been in a Breath of the Wild style game and they wanted to tell this exact same story, I know that I would still prefer the gameplay for its own merits versus Warriors game, but this way we actually get to, like, if it's like, oh, here was the battle in Rito Village or something like that, and it was before, you know, it's like Rivali before Link and Zelda show up to like recruit him or something like that, then like you play as Rivali doing all that stuff, as opposed to, there's no way that in a legit Zelda game you would, I mean, maybe like you can use Majora's Mask, I guess, as an example. They're like, they changed up gameplay and stuff. Like, there's no way, I don't think, that they would do a really well fleshed out section where you get to play as Rivali and you get to play as Daruk and all that kind of stuff. And you would just be playing as Link and hopefully Zelda. But this, at least, like,
boy and girl Zelda.
This at least is a way that like you get to play as those and get to feel involved in each of the stories of those different battles and stuff. And I think that's really exciting and fun, even if, again, the Warriors gameplay itself isn't something that I care as much about. But I think, like, because the story is something that matters to me, the gameplay is going to feel more monumental or whatever, where like, in the Hyrule Warriors original game, I know that it's just a made-up story for the sake of the game, which like every game's a made-up story for the sake of a game, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know, like it feels like, oh, I need to go defend that place because I guess some bad guys are going to do some stuff in this made-up world. It feels like different than
in the case of Breath of the Wild, the original. You're more receptive to the story because the game around it is good. Whereas now you're already invested in the story because you were bought in. Yeah. Or you were like, yeah, I'm down for this story because of the gameplay and everything around it. So now you're here for the story that you like because of all the other stuff.
And then the whole like defending towers and those kinds of things will feel like this is a battle that I legitimately care about winning.
Right.
For Hylia,
I can't, you know, but I care to try.
Yeah. Right. So all that, I think I'm excited for that kind of thing. I think the other thing I talked about and like curious what your thoughts are on it. I feel like there's not really any spoilers that we can give for this, because we're theorizing and stuff, but like we know that it ends with Link goes to sleep for 100 years.
Situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Situation.
So like
everybody dies.
So I think like, how do you think that plays out and like it finishes where we feel good about it or like we feel accomplished by beating the game and all? I've got some thoughts, but I'm curious to hear what yours are if you have any.
I don't know. I just think that like they're in the situation now where they gotta be like freaking like kind of like Star Wars was with like Luke, where people are like spoilers, I guess, for freaking Last Jedi. Where people are like, I don't like Last Jedi because how they killed Luke sucked. You know, like that whole thing. People need to fit and spoilers also, I guess, The Last of Us. I'm not Last of Us 2, like how characters died in that. They're like, I don't like how they killed so and so. They got to get that right for the characters that matter. They can kill, and I hope they kill Rivali in the crappiest way possible. It sucks. But everybody else, they need honorable deaths. You know.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly the thing. It's like you've got to feel like, I think it should feel like at some point they realize that that they're just not going to be able to win. I mean, obviously this is what would have happened, but they realize they're not going to be able to win, and the only thing that matters is getting Link to the Shrine of Resurrection and like get him there. We've set it up for him, and like if we do that, then the prophecy will come true, or something, you know, that kind of thing. But then everything else is just hold off, survive until that point in time, and then what happens. Because like there's no turning back from now. I think that's the only way to do it, where like it still feels like you just barely made it. And it's like we lost all them, but they all like you play as characters that are willingly sacrificing themselves and like, you know, holding up the things as they fall down or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, that's man, it's gonna be sad. It's gonna be sad.
It's gonna be
we
sad.
already know they're dead. We already know.
Yep. I think the thing, well, here we can get into some of these comments from the video as well. Oh yeah, so you guys, if this is your first time on the podcast, hello, welcome. You guys comment on our videos. We pull some of those comments and talk about them in the podcast. And usually we do it after the news bits, but this all tied into the video for this topic. So, you know, it works out. But before going into those, I think the interesting thing to think about, what I was going to say a minute ago, is like what this does mean for the story of Breath of the Wild 2, whether they reference back to it and all that kind of stuff. I think there is
that'd be wild. Like if there's like freaking flashbacks from stuff that happens in Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity.
Also, the game looks stunning. Like it looks like Breath of the Wild, which is so super cool. And we find out more about it on Tokyo Game Show on September 26th. So that's like real soon. That's in
and I wonder if they're going to do, it seems like they're going to do something else, like also like or at least like do a presentation for like an international like direct sort of thing, because like I bet it's a Nintendo Treehouse is my guess, because they said it's 50 minutes and on as part of Tokyo Game Show. So that's my guess. It's a Nintendo Treehouse that's part of Tokyo Game Show, or at least there's something like that, and that they talk about this, and I don't know, maybe announce something else, but maybe not too. If it's 50 minutes, I would be kind of surprised if they don't announce something else, or at least like tease at something else.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
I
let's
don't
get
know how
into...
long you can go on about this game.
Oh, that is one thing too, though, is like, I do wonder what, if the world becomes interconnected, like between, obviously there's like we've seen screenshots, there's stages that you're fighting in the same way that like most Hyrule Warriors ones are, or most Warriors games are. But like, I want to know what the gameplay is like between those, if it's just like cutscene and then you pick, I want to go to this level or whatever, or if there's something more. I haven't played the other Hyrule Warriors games, so you would know maybe better than me.
You call all of them Hyrule Warriors games.
I do. Well, this time I meant specifically the other Hyrule Warriors ones. How do they connect those together?
It depends on the mode, but it's like the cutscenes connect you, and it's like, okay, next level sort of thing, rather than it being like a hub world of some sort, you know.
Gotcha. Yeah, I hope that there is a hub world for what it's worth. I hope that at some point, like,
feel more epic.
There's some snapshot. This is what I'd like: is you get all of Hyrule. And as you go through the timeline, there's battles happening in different places. And if you played the game Pandemic, if anybody has the board game, like it's
soon.
If you play the board game Pandemic, there's it's a world map, and there's like viruses in different cities that are getting worse and worse, and you have to like figure out which ones to get rid of first and that kind of thing. So I would hope that with this, it shows maybe some escalating wars in different, or battles in different like places, and then you can like pick which one you even do first or something along those lines, where like these two are both at level 3s, and if either one gets to level 5, then like that's bad or something.
Yeah, but that's pretty much how, well, again, it's a mode thing. There's a mode like that.
Gotcha. Nice. Sweet. But yeah, let's get into some of these comments. So Daniel Simic said, I've been saying for years since the original Hyrule Warriors that it would be the perfect series for telling stories in the Zelda timeline that wouldn't make for a good main series game, and this is proof of that. Also, pie in the sky prediction for Breath of the Wild 2. What if the story revolves around putting an end to the reincarnation stuff? Who knows, though? I'm not trying to let my imagination run. Yeah. Who knows, though? I'm trying not to let my imagination run wild. Also, Urbosa or Impa for Smash, please. Lots of good stuff there.
You're a prophet, dude.
It's true.
I would have never guessed that. And I guess it's because like I don't like that game or those games. That I never would have been like, you know what, this is a good medium to tell more stories, you know.
Yeah, like, right. Especially because like maybe they haven't told a lot of good stories in that style yet, but Persona Scramble is another one that like that's a Muso game that's telling a story and it's canon and stuff like that. So like maybe that's something they're trying to do more, is like, you know, bridge that gap, as it were. But yeah, gotcha. I think I wouldn't have thought of that
for the Mario movie prequel Muso game, dude.
Yeah, the Mushroom Kingdom Wars.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, putting it into the reincarnation stuff in Breath of the Wild 2, that would be. I mean, the only downside of that would be that, like, where do they go with Zelda from there? You know, like, because they kind of they want to reboot and that kind of thing every once in a while. So if they do that canonically, then like they would limit themselves to every game having to be between the timeline that already exists, rather than kind of being like putting it off to the side where they want. So, but nevertheless, I like that story. Maybe they fail, you know, they try to do that, then it doesn't work out, but like they find out it needs to be this way, but Ganondorf is your buddy this time for now. I don't know.
It's true.
Eric Sledge said, I don't know if it changes everything, but it gives a better story and better game than Breath of the Wild. Already pre-ordered because I love the first Hyrule Warriors game.
Oof, bad take, dude. You hate to see it. You hate to see bad takes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, so, I mean, my thoughts here are like, number one, we don't necessarily know that it tells a better story and better gameplay, especially because I don't think it gives a better. It does not give better.
Not going to have better gameplay. We know that for certain, 100%.
This is true.
With the better story, maybe, who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a question of how they integrate it into the gameplay and all that stuff too. Like, hopefully, if it's done well, then like it's kind of like, okay. Taking a step back, I did musical theater in high school. It was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And in West Side Story, our director was talking about how the songs in that musical are different from the songs in the majority of other musicals, where a lot of the other ones, it's like story, pause, gonna sing a song about this thing that's happening, story, pause, story, you know, that kind of thing. Whereas in West Side Story, the songs themselves progress the story, and it's like from the beginning till the end of the song, there's something different that's happening now. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's part of the narrative and all that stuff.
It's
so
like
hopefully,
a less extreme version of Hamilton.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Oh my
literally
goodness.
all song.
Exactly. So hopefully this will be the case where it's not like cutscenes, pause, we're going to do this battle, cutscenes, pause, but it's like the battles themselves.
I hate to break this to you, but I doubt that. I doubt it. I think that it's going to be cutscene, and then the battle's going to be like elaboration of what the cutscene presented. Of like, we're in a battle, dude. We're fighting, and it's hard. And then it's like gameplay. Here's the battle. It's hard. Back to cutscene. We just finished battle, dude. It was really hard.
Yep. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm glad you loved the first Hyrule Warriors game. Glad this one's coming out, and that you'll get to enjoy it. I'm still very much looking forward to Breath of the Wild 2 and this.
Yeah, man.
So, but mostly Breath of the Wild 2 even more. Last comment is from Diddy Kong. Hey, Mega Man.
Yo, a celebrity.
You happy? One of the best things about Age of Calamity is how it was not leaked and how it was announced very close to the release date. When was the last time that happened for a video game? Another thing is that it's canon. Now, I never bought a Warriors game, but this will be the first time for me. Lovely surprise from Nintendo / Koei Tecmo. Might even be my favorite announcement of the year.
What was the last time a game didn't leak?
It feels like forever.
It has to be.
To be honest.
It has to be sometime around this. I feel like I heard somebody say that before.
I mean, I said that in my video for
this
sure.
Year. No, but I feel like I heard somebody say that this year about something else.
Okay.
But I can't think about
the last one that I can think of, because Pikmin was leaked, Paper Mario was leaked. Mario, I don't think that was, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
Maybe Clubhouse Games, which like isn't a big deal.
No, I don't know if it was a Nintendo game. It's probably a third party thing, but
okay. I was thinking more Nintendo stuff, but yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of it. So I'm just going to accept it as truth that we haven't gotten a game that hasn't leaked since
at least, honestly, a year. Like September last year, we got the announcement for Xenoblade Chronicles Remaster. And
I don't know if that feels like that, though.
If that feels like not...
If that's like, how didn't this leak? You know,
right. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing is like... I mean, then before that, like E3, you know, or like
Mario Odyssey didn't leak.
Bravely Default 2, you know?
Yeah.
It's, I mean, like we've had stuff throughout Switch.
Well, no, I don't know if it didn't. Because like that game,
you're right.
Like Bravely Default 2.
They teased it forever.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. So it's been a hot minute for sure. But I'm excited that it seems like there's at least some stuff that they can have that's not going to leak. So that's good. And yeah, the fact that it's canon is awesome, and like they can do these kinds of things to do that. So I'm really excited. Any last thoughts about Age of Calamity before we move on to the next news
I'm
bits?
excited to have the new lore in my brain. I'm dreading playing the game, though. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised, but I doubt it.
We'll see. It'll be a thing. I if I'm being totally honest, I kind of feel like I'm going to play it and really enjoy the gameplay, even though I haven't enjoyed the demos and stuff from before. I could be wrong. I hope I enjoy it.
I feel like I could see that because you're like more on for the ride than me. You're like, this is fine.
Yeah.
This is pretty good. Like you eventually get to, I'm like way too stubborn for that. So like, unless there's like drastic changes to the gameplay that already exists to make it better, I'm going to hate it. But I'm going to be like, it's worth though for everything else around it.
True. So there you go. There's that. Moving on with the news. This week, there was some conversation from Bloomberg who, let's find the actual quote. But pretty much Nintendo apparently, well, for one thing, they're raising production of Switches, which is cool and makes sense because they're still selling a lot of them.
They're going to manufacture 30 million.
30 million. I think between, here it says 25 million, which I think was raised from 20 million in the first place, would be my guess.
I saw 30 million somewhere, but I don't remember where.
It's 30 million now. So it's up from 25 is what I was saying.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. All right.
So, but yeah, this is
which is insane. That's like half as many Switches are in the wild now. In 1 year. That's freaking nuts. That means if they sell all those, the Switches within 10 million of 100 million sold.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
4.5 years.
I guess because this includes, I think it's for the fiscal year ending 2021, so it would include the however many so far it happened.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I mean, but still, we'd be at least at like 80 million or something like that because we've only had one finalized quarter of, right? Yeah, we've only had one finalized quarter of the 2021 fiscal year so far.
That would be insane because if it hits freaking 100 million by the end of 2021, it's going to outsell PS4. It might even outsell PS2 if we're being real. Especially since this is before any Switch Lite price cuts or any like real main Switch console price cuts have happened. It's going to outsell PS2. It's going to happen.
I think it's all a question of like the things that they could do. Long lifespan, iteration on the hardware itself, price cuts, and just keeping up good software. Because like usually that's where those kinds of consoles falter, and where like PlayStation's been doing great this year is like in its last year, it's still getting a lot of great games. But like a lot of other times, the last 2 years or so, we're
done, dude.
Yeah, we're moving forward. Which I mean, I think so. Then this also talks about the fact that apparently, where's the actual quote? It's in the other link. But so
it's
that people,
another Boy Zelda.
The other Boy Zelda.
I wanted to say that in my video to see what people would say to click the Boy Zeldas in the description.
You should do it in the next one. But yeah, so
you should have did it in your video.
I should have because it would have been
single Boy Zelda. You didn't say Boy Zelda a single time.
No. Is blasphemy. So Nintendo here, the introduction of more affordable Switch Lite variant in late 2019 helped broaden the machine's potential audience, and Nintendo is making preparations for an upgraded Switch model and beefed up games lineup for 2021. Bloomberg News has reported. Several outside game developers, speaking anonymously as the issue is private, said that Nintendo has asked them to make their games 4K ready, suggesting a resolution upgrade is on its way. A Nintendo spokesman declined to comment. I have thoughts. They're mostly that this isn't specific, and I don't really know. These don't say like, hey, make your games 4K ready as soon as possible or immediately or whatever. Like it would be awesome if this is for the theoretical Switch Pro in, March or whatever it is. But it also, I feel like if you're starting to tell people right now to make your games 4K ready, sort of that feels like, hey, as you're developing over the next 3 years or 4 years for like the Switch successor, at that point, like be having 4K games or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because like it depends on who they're telling that to.
Yeah,
like, specifically like, so if it's for third party game developers, like not second party or anything like that, right? It would make sense.
Probably a smaller window.
It would be, exactly. It would make a lot more sense if they were like, hey, we're trying to launch in 5 months.
Yeah.
Give us 4K games. We already got 4K ready games in the, in the docket. Or on the docket. So, it's feasible. But if they're like universally saying this, and this is like a thing that from the top down, they're like, all right, freaking Shigeru Miyamoto, make sure your next gardening game is 4K ready. Then this could be freaking 3 years out for all we know.
Yep. So, I mean, I don't even feel like talking about it all that long, but like I think it does depend on some of those kinds of things, whether this is for the immediate future or way further down the road. So I don't know. We'll see. I just don't care that much also personally about 4K as opposed to like just games being stable and like, doing what they're trying to do now, but like,
granted, I'm probably
perfect,
buy a 4K TV for freaking.
I think, we bought a 4K. It was like the cheapest 4K TV there was, but it's
because I was debating it. I was like, Black Friday and all that last year.
Yeah.
But I was like, what do I need that? I don't need that. But now I probably do. So
yeah.
Well,
I think ours too. We just got it because we moved our living room TV into the bedroom, and then because we just wanted a bigger TV, so we got a bigger TV, and it was like, hey, we can get it 4K for like $350 for a however big it is, 55-inch screen or something. I was like, I'm down. We'll do it. And it's a smart TV, so it's like all the boxes are checked except for stupid HBO Max and Peacock aren't going to be on there ever because it's Roku TV. So
rip.
I'm mad.
Rip. I still don't use freaking Peacock, dude. I got that freaking.
I haven't used it at all, so I don't know.
And it is still in the box. And they email me. They literally email me, and they're like, "Hey, maybe take your thing out of the box." I'm like, "No, I don't want to. I refuse."
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just still, until they take stuff off of Netflix and Hulu and stuff. Like, I'm still watching The Office and Parks and Recreation on the places I'm already watching them on. So, for the foreseeable future, I think the end of the year is when they're doing that, though. So, there we go, Peacock at that point. But also at the end of the year, we will have seen several games from Ubisoft on the Nintendo Switch, specifically Immortals: Fenyx Rising, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and probably later than the end of the year, but at some point, actually definitely later than the end of the year, but Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake come into Switch at some point, sounds like. So there's that. Immortals: Fenyx Rising. Did you watch the whole Ubisoft Forward or just bits and pieces from it?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
I watched through the end of Immortals: Fenyx Rising, and then Prince of Persia.
I'm still calling it freaking Gods Among Us.
I know,
Gods and Monsters.
At this point, I'm just gonna probably call it either Fenyx Rising or Immortals, but not the whole name.
I freaking see, but I hate that name. Like I don't like that name at all. It's too edgy, dude.
It is.
It's too edgy. I might cut myself on that name, dude. I'm not down.
I get it. What are your thoughts on Gods and Monsters, first and foremost?
I think it looks cool. It's kind of annoying because like I'm seeing people being like, this looks like good Breath of the Wild. And I'm like, nah, this looks like soulless Breath of the Wild. It's like, it's going to be a Ubisoft Breath of the Wild game, which means it's going to be algorithmically developed. So it's going to be fine and like a neat experience and everything like that, but it's not really going to have the same impact. Which is whatever, dude. I'm down for more Breath of the Wild. Yeah. But like, I think some people are overhyping it a little bit too much.
Yeah. Honestly, I rewatched some stuff about it today. I was having a rough day the day that the thing actually happened. So I was watching it and just like, cool. Yep. There it is. So I had to like,
sucks.
No, not it sucks, but just like, I just wasn't like super excited just because I was having a day. But I went back and watched it and watched some gameplay stuff of it too. Because that was the other thing is like, it was hard to tell exactly what the gameplay was going to be like from what they showed, even though it was like kind of gameplay, but it was like not, there wasn't any HUD elements and it was more cinematic type gameplay. So like hard to really know what all was going on. But yeah, I mean, it looks neat. I've been excited for it for a while, and I'm still pretty excited for it. I obviously love Breath of the Wild. So if it brings even, a decent amount of that to the table, then I'm happy. The way that it's telling the story seems a bit interesting from like, it's from the god's perspective and all that, which is similar kind of to Raji that I just played. But the only thing with that is like, hopefully those characters are well voice acted and aren't grating. Because I could kind of see that happening, like depending on how well they do with that. So fingers crossed that they turn out all right. But all in all, I'm down for it. Looks cool. It's coming out 3rd December. So not too long. And then the next thing was, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. We're all happy, you know, that kind of thing. I love the movie. I'd never played the game.
I've never played the game. I've never seen the movie, so I was nonplussed.
It's a very, very good movie. It's like one of mine and Ashley's.
I don't doubt it. I just
movies.
know I don't have the same attachment to it in any way. Like I have no connection with this IP. So I was like, I just knew that people are excited about this. Cool.
Yep.
You know,
that's The thing. Like, there's some garbage about it too, though, where like the original creator like doesn't get any of the money from it or something like that because it's I don't know, some like weird kinds of shenanigans that I'm not all about. But
you mean Ubisoft doing shady business? Who would have ever thought?
But that said, hopefully, at least I just realized this maybe because I got Assassin's Creed from them, so maybe I'll be able to get these games from them. I don't know, maybe not. Who cares? If not, I'll just get some of these for Christmas probably, or just buy them myself if I have money. We'll see how it pans out. And then the last one, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. Not for sure coming to Switch, but it was listed for Switch some places. They just didn't say officially that it was. So it seems like maybe it's coming to Switch later. And it looks better than the original, but also kind of janky at the same time. But
I
don't know. Like the original one looks like PS2 stylized game kind of thing, you know, where it's like it looked great for the time. And it kind of feels like it holds up, where like just like upscale would actually maybe hold up pretty well from it. But then this is like kind of in an uncanny valley right now. Then again, it sounds like
it's like, because I don't think that the original game, I think the original game looks like it's one of those games that like if you just up-res it, then everything will be fine, like a Wind Waker, but it's really actually not, you know.
Probably.
So like
it's more polygonal than you realize because it hides it.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. So apparently what we saw was,
I mean Wind Waker. Did I say
you said Wind Waker? Yeah, you said Wind Waker.
Okay, I don't know why my brain thought you said Breath of the Wild, you idiot.
Dumb. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think we saw alpha footage in that. So hopefully in the end it ends up looking, you know, a little bit better. But in any case, it's going to be $40, so that's not that bad. But
nice.
There it is. There's
just
that.
Another game for when there's another remaster that's not $40, but I can't believe this is $60.
Yeah. I mean, but this no. Things and stuff. So, but that's the end of the news. Anything you wanted to touch on from any of that before we move on?
I just want to reiterate that Immortals Fenyx Rising is a stupid name and I hate it.
Hopefully the game is better than the name. We will see.
Yep.
I mean,
hopefully the discourse around the game doesn't make me want to pull my face off my face.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when A Hat in Time came out and everybody was like, Mario Odyssey sucks. This game's the best. And it's like, or you could just enjoy either one of the games and like not worry too much about it because like that's fine.
It's so gross, dude.
Yep. But speaking of gross, not really. Speaking of dudes, you're one that makes videos every week. And
it's true, man.
I made one this week. And speaking of comments, though, there were some fun comments on your video this week.
I checked out and I plan to check out because like I've like in the beginning when I started making YouTube videos, like I cared more about comments. Like, I just want everybody to like me, man. And like that wouldn't change the content that I would make, but it would would change how I feel about the comments, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'd be like almost upset that people are upset at me for a thing. But now I'm just like, I came into this video thinking like I'm making this list because this is how I feel about these games. I don't care. I actively do not care how literally anybody feels about how these games rank or are rated. That's why I was like, feel free to let me know yours because that, you know, I find that interesting.
Yeah.
But your opinion on my opinion means nothing to me. Like, you know, like I don't care what people are like, I think that you're dumb for liking Mario 64 less than, you know, like I don't really care about that because what I like is what I like and what you like is what you like. But apart from that, the wholesome comments are good.
Yeah, there was some actuallys in there that were funny, but
I like the ones that are like, my favorite game is this, because I grew up with that. Those comments, great, A+. Yep. But the ones that are like, I can't believe you like blah blah blah, because it's like, I played all these games, dude. And I have reasons removed from like, this game makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside to be like, I think this game is better than this game.
Yeah. I mean, and like, I think it's hard to, because when you hear some of your favorite content creators or something like that talk about so like Brian Altano at IGN, for example, really likes, I think the original Super Mario Bros. And the original Legend of Zelda are like two of his favorite games, or something like that.
Right.
So then, if you really value his opinion or some other opinions of people with those same thoughts, then like you'll even without having played those games, you'll hold them on just like a higher standard of just like, these are games that people that I care about, like, which is fine. But then like it's important to know what your own opinion is, removed from that, and not feel like it's like, and I want to be clear,
I don't mind the people that disagree with me. That's fine. But being like, your opinion is stupid because of X, Y, and Z, and not even stuff that's like well sourced. If people told me like, this is why you're wrong about the original Super Mario Bros, other than the fact that it's the original Super Mario Bros, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. If you're like, the design of this game is X, Y, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's a good comment. Keep it up, I probably still wouldn't agree with you, but if it's your whole explanation, it's like, this is the classic, I don't care. I actively do not care. Like, I negative care.
So here's the comments, going right into it with one that's topical. We just said Ganon Dragmire said, you became irrelevant instantly when you gave the original Super Mario Bros 15 out of 35. Shame on you. Shame on you, AJ. There's that,
Deal with it.
I don't really have any comment other than like, I guess the tricky thing is, when you're giving games a solid rating, there's some assumption that from other people that it's not, same kind of thing when I made my tier list video or whatever, like that one I actually tried to be more objective, whereas yours was definitely more subjective anyway. But even in that, it's like, a lot of it's still going to have to be subjective. What I think makes something more valuable or whatever. So
at least for like tier lists and stuff like that, I try to be objective in the sense that it's completely removed from how I felt about the game when I played, like the Mario 64 thing, right? I freaking loved Mario 64 when I played Mario 64 just as much as you guys loved Mario 64 when you played Mario 64. But as an adult, I'm able to look at Mario 64 as it exists now and not be like, oh man, there's jank, but that jank is endearing to me. No, it's jank. Jank is jank. Like, and that's more how like I gauge stuff like that. I don't really care about like, well, this set the foundation for this, because that's not how products work. Like, I'm not playing Mario Odyssey and am actively reminded by the game itself to be like, appreciate the original Mario Bros for setting in the foundation for this. I'm playing Mario Odyssey, so I'm going to judge Mario Odyssey for what Mario Odyssey is.
Like I'm not going to drive a Model T car. I'm going to drive a 2019 or a 1995 or whatever car, like a car that right now is going to run well, as opposed to like the original thing. So that doesn't remove any of the ingenuity from the original, but it's as far as like what's purposeful for right now, there's difference there.
I feel like,
and some of it holds up better.
I feel like judging games like that is arbitrary and it doesn't really mean anything. Like you're just like propping up something wholly based on nostalgia and like this whole thing of like,
well, it's tricky then too, because like the hard thing with that is you have to pretty much fossilize any opinions of it in its time. So like Mario 1 comes out, this is what people thought of it back then. That's what people will always have to think about it forever, which is like, we just don't see that with other things. You know, like there's plenty of movies where it's like, oh yeah, people loved it back then, but now we go back and look at it and it's really racist and that's bad. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that where like it's, stuff just changes or whatever. But nevertheless, let's get into some of these other ones. YPCS says, cool, honest list, AJ. I enjoy all of your videos, and Parker's, and you guys are some of my favorite YouTubers. Thanks, man. Thanks. I haven't played any of the Galaxy games or Sunshine, but that's about to change with the 3D collection. So I'll see how my list compares to yours once I play them. Keep up the great job.
Thanks.
Nice.
I'm excited for you because I love both of those games.
Yep. It'll be fun. Yeah, curious what, let us know after you played them. We need to get everybody to make tier lists or whatever once those games have come out of like, I just want to know what people's impressions of them are if they've never played Sunshine after playing Sunshine or whatever. We'll see.
Right. Even if it's just like ranking the games within the thing. Not even having to do like the whole thing. Oh, and that's the other thing. I didn't pull any of these comments, but people being like, he didn't talk about 3D Land.
Right. Yeah.
If I talked about literally every Mario game, that video would be 45 minutes long. So I made the very deliberate decision of being,
I think you mentioned that in the video though too,
I
right?
did of being like, these are the mainline games, none of that like freaking, you know, like ancillary crap. Like New Super Mario Bros is an ancillary series in my mind. It's like this thing that's like, it really doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have any story or anything like that. It's just a way to play the 2D Mario games again. Almost like remasters, but not specifically a remaster.
Right.
So I just was like, I'm disregarding these games. But maybe I'll make a list that ranks those games and then the other spin-offs, you know, like that sort of thing. Or just not even the individual games, but the spin-off series in and of themselves.
Yeah.
I could probably do that.
Yeah, I mean, Mario Kart, Mario Sluggers, Mario Golf,
Mario
whatever.
Tennis, freaking Mario RPG,
Hoops.
Paper Mario, freaking.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I'd be down to watch that.
Yeah.
Next one, this is from Benji890, who said, I haven't played many Mario games, so to me, Mario Maker 2 is my favorite. I never got past the beginning of Sunshine, and I missed on New Super Mario Bros. Games and Galaxy 1 and 2, as I already had a bad experience with Mario game. I only came back to Mario with Mario Odyssey, though the motion controls hampered the experience. I'll be honest, I prefer 2D Mario games rather than 3D. I'm always open to try more 3D Mario games. This is a great video, AJ. Sorry, this is late.
No problem, dude. I don't know. Like, I don't know if I like the 3D or 2D Mario games better, because there's been times when, like, again, for a while, Super Mario World was my favorite Mario game up until Odyssey. And that just was the case. I didn't really prefer one over the other. As far as like the style, I just know I liked Mario World more than I liked the other games for its design and all that stuff.
For me, I would easily say 3D Mario over 2D Mario. Mostly just because I think, for the most part, it feels like
you like the
Mario
exploration.
Yeah,
and all
exactly.
That stuff,
just
rather
like
than it being like level design heavy and being like, this is to get to a goal. It's more like,
it's like there's multiple different ways.
I don't want to say more technical, but it's like more mechanically driven, the 2D games.
Where there's like, if you speed run it, there's a way that feels like most speedrunners would do the same thing. I mean, most speeders do the same thing in 3D games too.
3D,
like, but something about it is like there's more varied ways in the 3D Mario games to achieve your objective, and so it's kind of one of those like, figure out the way you want to do it, as opposed to the 2D games are more rote in that regard. But again, the way that they plan that out is still, you know, super, super good compared to all sorts of other platforms and stuff. And again, Super Mario World is tops.
Yes. Great game.
Best
game. No, I'm joking.
Wyatt Merrill says, I think you can compare games to cars. Hey, that's what I would. Okay.
Yeah.
35 years ago, there were some really cool, fun cars. But if you compare those cars to modern cars, the modern cars will almost certainly be better in every way. Same for Mario. The old games are awesome, but the newest games have a ton of improvements.
Yeah. I agree.
I like how you think.
I think that, and it's more or less how that list panned out. There's exceptions, like there's like the Mario 3D worlds of the list of it being like, I think that this was going in the right direction, but there's a lot of things that kept it like that stopped it from surpassing games that came before it. But the overall trend is that they improve as time goes on, and that's just how games work. Like,
I mean, that's how a lot of technology and stuff works in general, where it's like, I mean, like an iPhone or whatever, like nobody's going to argue that iPhone Gen 1 is just better than, you know, the iPhone 11 or something like that.
Hipsters would.
Yeah, I mean, would. But like, you know, like there's better technology in and out. However, you can, there can be some iterations where like they messed up the UI or they did something that really hampers the experience, or especially
like or whatever.
So at that point, like there's ways that you can make it worse than its predecessor, even if the technology is better, but you have more options available to you to be able to make it better because you can have learned from the past as well.
Right.
So.
And at that point, like the only thing that separates games is how you felt about the thing. And but I think that that's like a rabbit hole you go down. That's like ultimately makes your perspective less reliable,
right?
Because it's like, I really love, let's say somebody really loves Mario 2. They're like, this game is my favorite Mario game.
Which one? Because if you say the wrong one, you're gonna probably just explode.
I don't care. Whichever Mario 2, whichever one is your favorite Mario 2, that's the one I'm talking about. Or maybe it's not. But
it's new Super Mario Wii 2. No,
exactly.
Not Wii 2.
If you judge your entire experience of Mario on that game, if other games aren't enough like that, you're not going to like that game as much.
I mean, like the whole Paper Mario thing.
That their favorite, the Paper Mario thing, but even like, I would say less extreme than that. Like if somebody's favorite Mario game is Mario 64, they're going to prefer Mario Odyssey over Mario 3D World, because Mario Odyssey is more like Mario 64 than 3D World is.
Right.
So like it's less about like judging the games on what they do well, and more so judging the games on how well they do the thing that you like about the game that is your favorite.
Totally.
And exactly. That's not judging the games based on what they are, which I think is a bad way to judge games. Critically anyway, like as a fan, whatever, like if you're just like, I prefer this, then fine. But if it's like this thing that you're trying to be almost objective, like no review is going to be objective,
right?
Trying to come at it from a perspective that goes beyond just your personal sensibilities. I think it's a bad way to gauge games on like, well, I like this iteration of the series better than this iteration.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Last comment is from Mega Man, who says 64 will always be my go-to. So pumped for
No, it won't. It won't always be your go-to, Mega Man. You're wrong about what your go-to is.
It's true. Also, because it'll be gone from your Switch after March 31st, and you won't ever be able to play it again.
Yeah, true. They're going to
anywhere.
The Nintendo ninjas are going to come into your house and take the cartridge out of your Switch.
That's right.
Without even holding your, they're going to freaking hold their hand up forward where your Switch is. It's going to phase through the Switch itself and go into their hand, and they're going to put it in a suitcase that's way too big for the cartridge, close the suitcase, lock it to their freaking arm with a handcuff, and then walk out.
That's right. Are they taking anybody else, or are they just taking?
Nah, just the cartridge. That's it.
Okay.
Or the data for the and they're going to do it the same way. They're going to freaking hold their hand out, and then it's going to like, you're going to see like the
60s sci-fi effects or whatever.
No, it's going to like your Switch is going to turn on, and if it's docked, it's going to like lift up from the dock, and then the screen's going to turn on. It's going to be levitating in the air.
I always knew
and it's going to turn on, and you're going to see like the UI for the game, and it's going to have like the Thanos snap animation, and then it's going to disappear off your thing. And then it's going to like shift over the last game in the list to be like, okay, this is first now. And then they're going to freaking like blood bend your Switch back into the dock, and then put the data that they're energy bending in the air into an SD card with like, they're going to freaking, like do the whole hand thing. And then they're going to put that SD card. It's going to be a micro SD card in the same suitcase that they would put the the Switch cartridge, close that, handcuff it to their hand, and
they've got so much technology and
I'm telling
magic.
you, dude, the Nintendo
ninjas.
ninjas are wild, dude.
What was I gonna say? We watched so you know how Dune is coming out, the new Dune movie?
Yep.
Yet last night Ashley was like, we should try to watch the old Dune. Like, we know it's like bad and stuff, but we were like, I don't know, just try it, see what's going on. And so we went and watched it. We started to watch it. We got up to a point where I was like, I mean, I could see how it's like not the best or whatever, but it's like not super cringy or anything yet. And then about 10 minutes in, it gets to a part where it's Kyle MacLachlan is the like main character or whatever, and Patrick Stewart, who is a guy in it, and we love Patrick Stewart. He's great. And Patrick Stewart's like, all right, let's fight or whatever. And then they put up their like shields that I've seen in the trailer for the new movie. It's like, I don't know, like body shield kind of things. You fight and like you can't, I don't know what it is, but like a force field, protective force field kind of a thing. That in the new one, it looks cool and stuff. And in the old one, it is the worst looking thing I've ever seen. Like, they tried to do technology and they failed at technology. It's it pretty much looks like they're in, I don't know, like they're Minecraft Steves going around, but like of like fake computer graphic plasma or whatever. It's so bad, and it's very, very funny. So we watched that. But something about what you said made me think of that. I don't know why, to be honest, but
I don't even remember what
it
I said,
did.
Dude. I just freaking blacked out into this stream of consciousness of my
of your
recollection of the Nintendo ninjas.
Yep. And so your recollection of the Nintendo ninjas does bring us to the recollection that you guys ask us questions every single week.
It's true.
We answer them because it's fun to do it. Sometimes they're topical. Sometimes they're just silly things.
It's true.
I'm going to check in case any
silly stuff's not topical. Wow.
It's the most topical it's ever been. You don't even know, man. Or something. Checking to make sure if any came in under the wire that we need to add, because if you wrote it like right as we started to record, I don't want to miss that.
There's gonna probably be comments,
and there was one. Look
tomorrow.
At that.
Like
oh yeah, 100%. I did add one that was asked last week. So, but just now I added one that was added 20 minutes ago. So here we go. You ready? This is first up from YouTube community. We asked for questions, and Daniel Ortega said, what do you think Age of Calamity what do you think of Age of Calamity? It's so cool seeing the kingdom not destroyed and seeing all those mobs in hordes. I'm used to seeing the mobs in camps. So yeah, I think that is something that's fun, is just like the feeling of, with the AI that's present in the bokoblins and the moblins and all that stuff in Breath of the Wild, there's no way that you could get more than a couple of those.
That's the thing that I'm kind of disappointed by that, because something that's so cool about Breath of the Wild is how the AI interacts with the world. Like it's smarter than most AI in games. And it's going to be dumb now, so it's going to feel vapid.
I mean, maybe there's still going to be some stuff where, like, maybe a moblin could pick up a bokoblin or whatever, but it's just like, it's not as reactive
it's gonna
about
be like
it. It's
a pre-canned animation. It's going to be like a super attack where it's like a
maybe
pick up or like 3 bokoblins and like just freaking heat them. Yeah, like, but it's not
going
to
happen.
Be like cool. And I don't think there's going to be anything that's like, yo, I gotta tweet that, like there's not going to be anything like that.
I think that kind of stuff will be story stuff, or like cool moves that you could do or something like that. But yeah, it's not going to be the just really cool AI stuff from Breath of the Wild itself. So which I'm fine with, because of what this game is. I'm not expecting that bokoblins are going to
just being a story thing or whatever.
But, right. And it's just like, you just kill a bunch of them. So
it is cool that the like seeing the world not calamity-ified. That would be neat. I
do wonder if we'll see some
DLC, though.
yes, right
about that.
Yeah. I mean, that's something.
And I'm sad again because Breath of the Wild 2 is probably still going to be freaking like destroyed.
I do so much wonder still what they're like. Is it
maybe parts
2
of
years
it
in the future?
Rebuilt, there's like some stuff that is like in the recovery phase.
I mean, even then though, like it's been 100 years, and it seems like they had rebuilt over the past 100 years for Breath of the Wild in the first place.
Yeah, that's true.
So like, I don't know how much they'd rebuild.
So even then,
there's
just like stuff that they're just. But then I don't know, because like maybe there's just certain stuff that they're like, we don't want to rebuild this because it's just going to get destroyed again.
Exactly.
So, like, maybe that sort of thing would have changed it, like beating, I guess. Calamity again in the first time is like, all right, we can rebuild for real this time.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see that. But it's cool seeing these areas. I do wonder if there will be some battlefields that are like, I mean, somebody pointed out like Lon Lon Ranch is in Breath of the Wild, but you don't know it. It's just kind of like there. So like if Lon Lon Ranch would be a battlefield and, all that kind of stuff, that would be really neat. Sam Diaz asks, with so many people starting school this week, what's your favorite gaming memory that's related to school, whether it be from elementary, playground, or the college dorm?
Was I in middle school? I was in middle school. I used to have a free period because my reading level was too high for the class that they had at that period.
Nice.
So me and one other friend would be in this free period, and we like freaking play Pokemon Diamond, and we just battle every day, and that was dope because the teacher that was like in that class was also dope. She was probably top 3 teacher, dude. Top 3 teacher.
Love a good
that's probably that. Well, teachers that let me play video games inside of school. Yo.
Honestly, for me, I feel like it's not specifically gaming memory in terms of like me playing a game or anything like that. But my friend group when I was in elementary school in France we were just super into Pokemon. Like, I mean, I went to a small public school that was like just in our neighborhood or whatever. So like probably, I don't know, class of like 30 or 40 or something like that, split up into 2 different classes. And so my friend group was literally like me and 3 or 4 other kids, but we would just like always like play in the, I mean, it was just like kid playing stuff where it's like, like fireball or whatever, or like water gun and stuff. But we would just, pretend to be Pokemon and that kind of thing. And like, this kid's real smart, so he's psychic type. This one, he's a hothead, so he's fire type, that kind of stuff. And I don't know, it was just fun, like feeling like the gaming thing was just like part of real world. And that's more just like kids playing, but it was a good time.
Yeah, so, man, Pokemon's great. Pokemon
is great. I also still remember when a friend of mine around that same time told me that he saw a Caterpie in his backyard, and
you were like freaking, it blew your mind, I was like, dude.
I don't know if he's telling the truth or not. And then later realized he was a chronic liar. So like, yeah, definitely not.
Right.
And then
like the worst Pokemon.
I know, right?
Though, if we're being real, like that's the only thing that kind of makes it believable. It's like, why would he lie about finding that crappy thing? And
at the time too, I was like, I know real Pokemon aren't real. I was probably at this point, I was like, I know Pokemon aren't real, so maybe there was like a robot Caterpie in like that's. I definitely remember
maybe
thinking
it was a Jurassic Park kind of thing, but they created them in a lab. They're real. They're not like resurrected. Or
And then another friend at that same school was like told everybody that his cousin or uncle or whatever worked at the Pokemon card factory in Japan.
My God. Oh yeah, I mean, it's like this.
Yeah. And so every week he was like, it was the school that I went to just once. It was whatever, because we were in France. I went to English school once a week to like learn, grammar and all that stuff. And he was like, yeah, what's the one card you want? And I was like, Articuno for sure. And every week I'd come back and be like, yo, Basil, you got that Articuno? And he's like, not this week. Sorry, man. And then I would tell him something. And that because he was also a chronic liar, he wouldn't believe me when I told him stuff that was actually true. What a time. Kids, am I right?
My uncle's friend used to be like, I got a PlayStation 3, and this is like in freaking 1997, and be like, I got a PlayStation 3 from Japan. And it's like, freaking, all right, show it to me. He's like, I'm not allowed to. It's embargoed.
Garbage. What a time. People.
Kids suck.
I know. It's like, I mean, the whole rumors of, like, you mew if you move the truck and all that kind of stuff. Like, somebody told me you
freaking unlock Charizard in Smash Bros. 64 if you beat Master Hand without getting hit. I think I talked about it in the video. I think I talked about that in a video.
There's so many of those, and it's a fun time. Like, it was nice being that naive in some ways, back in the day.
Kids suck, dude.
That's the other way of looking at it, that's for sure. All right, next up, the Pagonging, which I still don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I looked up what that means because I was trying to find out how to pronounce it. And apparently it's a Survivor reference, and it was season 1 of Survivor. There were 2 teams or whatever, and then like at some point they merged the 2 teams, so it's one big team. And then there was a thing where everybody that had been on one team slowly voted out all the other members that had been on the other team, even though now they were one big team.
That's tough.
And that's like the term for that now, apparently. So, hey, I get what things mean now. That's fun.
That's messed up.
Here's the question, though. As big Zelda fans, where do you think Age of Calamity fits in the timeline?
Well, if it's right before Breath of the Wild, so isn't Breath of the Wild like the last game? Because Skyward Sword was like the first game, and Breath of the Wild seems like it's the last game, or not like the last game ever, but like
I mean, I think that's
the most current game.
Definitely Zelda. I mean,
in the timeline.
Nintendo has said that it's at the end of the timeline, but I don't think they specified what that means or like how that works or whatever.
Yeah, or where it is in that, because it seems like they all kind of like. It almost seems like a new branch in the timeline in the sense that like all the ends of the other timelines converge and go into Breath of the Wild.
Which I think there's some theory, it might be game theory, that Hyrule Warriors actually was the thing that it's not canon, but it actually like secret is canon, and it is the thing that brings them all together, which is interesting. Missing link. Yeah, exactly.
Before Breath of the Wild. Yeah.
So, but the thing for me that I remember hearing a long time ago too that I would subscribe to is that it's so far in the future from all the other ones that the other ones are legitimately like legends. All legends. Yeah, they're all legends of Zelda, and like Skyward Sword is canon, is the beginning, is real, and then all the other ones are kind of like legends, and then this is the one that's like, oh, I heard that rock came from this ocean when the whole world was flooded. Well, I heard this came from the Twilight Realm, that kind of thing. So as far as this though, like it kind of where Age of Calamity fits is 100 years before Breath of the Wild, and then just wherever you want Breath of the Wild to be.
Yes.
So it's seems like kind of straightforward if you think about it that way, but still begs the question, where is Breath of the Wild for you? So there it is.
Yeah.
Benjamin W. asks, with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity releasing in November, do you think there will be any references to the game in Breath of the Wild 2 when it releases? Most likely summer to holiday 2021. What do you think?
Yes. I do. I don't know if they'll be like blatant. I think there'll probably be like things that like will unravel as we're playing Breath of the Wild 2 and be like, oh, that was it, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think they'll reference it.
I mean, it seems like Nintendo's working really closely with Koei Tecmo this time to like get the story stuff in there and make it be, canon and all that. So probably a lot of it is these are stories that they already had in mind anyway, and this is them fleshing it out, as opposed to them like fully creating some backstory.
Something, yeah, right. Gotcha.
So, because I'd imagine it's kind of like Sudoku, maybe, where like if you can build a whole Sudoku board, but then like to give it to somebody as a puzzle, you take out as many pieces as you can. I guess I've never made a Sudoku puzzle, but like same kind of thing. You build a full story, and you're like, okay, but we don't want everybody to just like know the full story, so we'll tell them little bits and pieces of it. Is what they did in Breath of the Wild, and then now it's like, oh yeah, well there's that full story. I guess we can flesh it out even more. So I think by default it already might have come up in Breath of the Wild 2, but especially now. I think it'll still come up. So yeah, we'll see. Goron Gamer asks, what do you think the likelihood is that sweet and sour chicken will be a cookable item in Breath of the Wild 2?
Yo, 100%.
I'm so glad. I don't know if you saw my prompt for the question, but
no, I didn't.
I'm gonna read it because anybody who doesn't specifically read or read it on YouTube. I said, podcast time. Are you pumped for Zelda? Because we are, and we need your help. Then asked for, like, here's where to listen to it and stuff. And I was like, you can ask us any questions, anything at all, as long as it's not about sweet and sour chicken. Please, for the love of everything that is good in this world, do not ask about sweet and sour chicken. See you Saturday. So, Goran Gamer, I very much appreciate you actually asking about it. But we can't talk about that. It's a secret. So
we can't. We're not allowed.
Sorry.
But yes, 100% is going to happen. We're not allowed to say that, though.
Yeah. Sorry. It's embargoed, just like my PlayStation.
Yeah. Just like the PlayStation 3, dude.
So that's it from the community tab. Now some questions from Twitter. If you don't follow us on Twitter already, we post lots of things all the time.
You do, man.
You can. It's in the description. Go check it out.
That's where you'll see Twitch stuff, dude.
That's true.
Yep.
This is from last week, and it came in just after we recorded, so we grabbed it for this week. I remembered. Look at that.
Yep.
Kate Michelle asks, do you think this opens the door for Galaxy 2 eventually also getting a port? And if so, how do you think it'll come? As a solo port or in another collection/bundle of some sort?
I think that freaking March 31st, 2021, or maybe even a little bit before that, they're going to be like, all right, time's up. You can't buy this collection anymore. Mm-hmm. You're buying it solo or whatever. Or they'll re-release it as like the basic B version of like, hey, this is like the not 35th anniversary thing, but also it comes with Mario Galaxy 2, like that sort of thing. I can see them do that. So if they do it separately, I can see them also be like, and Mario Galaxy 2 is available. So like if you buy freaking Galaxy 1, it's bundled with 2. And instead of being $20, it's $30, like that sort of thing.
I think even though a lot of people feel like Galaxy 2 is better than Galaxy 1, I do think that Nintendo
sees Galaxy 1 game to include.
Yeah, it's the more like it to them. It's the monumental one, whereas Galaxy 2 is
it's like a symbolic thing. It's like this is the Wii game, and this is the GameCube game, and this is the N64 game.
So like, I don't see them doing a Galaxy solo remaster where it's like, and like we did all those 3, but also here's Galaxy 2 all blown up, like even way bigger or something like that. Like I don't really see that happening, just because to them, I think Galaxy 2 is lower in the ranks than Galaxy 1.
I think if they do Galaxy 2, it'll be like an ancillary thing where it's like, oh yeah, and we also did this. Yeah,
exactly. So, but hopefully, I mean, it comes at all with the, as $20 or something like that on the eShop, or as a bonus thing for people who bought this one. It would be good. Chad Dominique asked, genuinely, how are you guys doing? There's a lot of craziness happening in the world right now, and while your YouTube channel is made to entertain and inform, I hope you guys are taking some time for yourselves to decompress. Thanks, man.
I'm doing good, man. There's like weeks where stuff happens and it makes me very angry. Yep. With the exception of that, I'm doing good.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've got a week off, like a week of PTO in 2 weeks. Like there will be one more podcast between now and then, which actually I should talk to you. Maybe we'll switch things up or do something that week just so it's more vacation-y. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Cause like work, cause I've got a day job that has been really stressful recently, but it's still fine. But it's
like, comment, subscribe, go to Twitch Prime, everybody.
There you go, all that stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, otherwise some of you guys know my wife and I are working on adopting, which is really exciting, but it's just a long process. So we're working on it. But yeah, thanks for asking. That's very cool.
Oh yeah. Also, I got another niece. I'm meeting her tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true.
Or today, as you guys are listening to this, if you listen to it on Saturday. So that would be fun.
Nice.
It's going to be cool, dude.
Next question from BZB Gaming asked, how are you guys doing? Hope your week was great. Hey, look at that. Then goes on to say, do you think we will get a new Smash character to go along with this holiday lineup at Nintendo, or that Nintendo has put in place? Thanks, guys, and looking forward to the pod. Oh
yeah, I would.
I agree.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a freaking like Smash Brothers announcement in like November. Especially if they do what I think they're going to do for one of these. If it's a Pokemon, I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised.
I think September 26th, when they do the stuff announcing this, I think
Zelda. You think it's going to be a?
I think a champion comes to Smash.
I mean, hey, that would also be dope.
Yep. So
I think somehow people would be. I don't know if people would be more or less mad about that. I don't know.
More or less,
because it feels like people than the Pokemon. I think people get mad about more Nintendo characters being added just universally, but there's just certain ones that's like, oh well, of course they're going to do it. Like Pokemon. If they add another Pokemon, most people are like, well, of course they're going to do that. But I don't know if people would be mad about Zelda or not. I know I'd be hyped. That'd be dope.
Yeah.
Because there's like what, if we're not counting the Goku-ified 3 boy Zeldas.
I think
4 Zelda characters.
We're far enough removed from the initial launch of Smash that I feel like the people that care about it, like I feel like it's still very exciting and it's like obviously a big deal, but it's going to be less toxic than it was at the beginning. Because before it was like, I don't know.
No, I disagree. The people that are toxic about character announcements are people that only, and I mean, like, I play Smash a lot, but I mean 4,000 plus hours in Smash. Like, that's their freaking life, dude.
Gotcha.
So, like, they're going to be toxic any day, you know?
I always thought that, then in that case, you're right. I always thought it was like the people that's like, I mean, I'm gonna get smashed, but like I'll definitely get smashed if Sora's in there, or I'll definitely get smashed. No shade against Sora, by the way.
I feel like that's those people are like secondhand, you know, like it's diluted almost. It's like they're mad, like almost because of the people that are mad. About like the ones that are like in, you know, they're like, well, if he's mad and he only plays this game, I'm also mad, you know, like that sort of thing.
Yeah,
like,
that's a thing for sure. Interesting. So yeah, but I think
like, I don't know if I talked about that. Did I ever talk about how when my niece was little, when she would get hurt, we would like wait to react until she reacts?
I 100% do that with kids because
it's like their immediate thing is like, I'm fine. Like, but like when everybody else is freaking out, it's like, well, they're older than me. They know what's going on, dude. If they're freaking out, I need to be freaking out.
Yeah.
So
I always go in like, if I'm looking after a kid, like, oh, hey, buddy, you're fine. Wow, that was a big tumble, huh? And then they're like, okay, maybe it's serious. But yeah, like if it's middling, then your reaction definitely can like 10%.
Yeah, it's like that's going to tip the scales 100%. You got to be like, all right. So what's this going to be? You decide, because I'm not going to put you in one direction or the other.
But that said, as far as the Smash character, so I think this holiday we still are going to get. Maybe we'll even have a Pokemon Direct at some point, but because we're going to get the Pokemon DLC and Pokemon Unite, those things are going to happen this holiday. But then I definitely one Smash character. I could honestly see 2 Smash characters happening this holiday.
I don't know. If the world wasn't on fire,
I mean, see it,
but I don't think that they're capable of like that kind of that much strategy, you know? Right. I don't know if they could be like, all right, we got Zelda and Pokemon announcements, a Zelda and a Pokemon, you know? Like,
I guess what I'm thinking too is like, I
think like maybe that was the plan.
I'm thinking there's one that could delayed. Be. Yeah, I'm thinking there's one that is ready right now and would have been ready even like a month or so ago that they'd finished and they're holding off on, but because of announcement reasons, they're kind of they were like waiting for the right time to be able to announce it, which is after all this other stuff. At which point, then I think they could get the second one ready for like December or something like that, or not second one, but third in the pack. That's kind of my thoughts. But also, if it's just one, like who cares? It's all fine. We're still going to get the 6 eventually, and it's not like people are not playing Smash now, and that many more people would play Smash for the rest of its life if the characters came out or whatever. So it'll just be fun. So there's that. Next question. Sorry. Aaron Fields asks, best Wi-Fi name you've ever seen or heard? I feel like I've seen some really good ones, and I can't remember all of them. The only one I can give you for sure is our Wi-Fi name, which my wife came up with. If you watch Parks and Recreation, it's a Parks and Rec joke. But it's Whiz Palace, which is what Leslie Knope calls the bathroom.
Oh my God.
And it's just fun and cute. So that's ours. It's not like the cleverest one so much as it's just fun and silly. But I feel like I've seen some really good ones. I just don't remember.
Most of the good ones, again, I'm in the same place where it's like they're like floating at the top of my head, where it's like right above. If I thought about it for long enough, I would think about, like, I would remember as soon as we stop recording. That's sort of thing. But for the most part, it's like categories. It's like they're usually like a pun on like the idea of wireless internet, or you know, like that sort of thing, or it's like freaking mean, like don't get on my Wi-Fi, like, or it's like FBI. It's like this is the FBI outside. Like the FBI ones are probably the best ones on.
That's true. Honestly, those are also my favorite. Anytime I see where somebody like slid into someone's DMs and they said something inappropriate or whatever, and the person responds with like, "This is an automatic message to say that your message is going to be sent to whatever." That's the funniest thing that I've ever seen. It's like vigilante justice, but like just barely, to where it's the person getting justice on themselves. It's so good. I love.
Also, it's because like a lot of times the type of person that would do that unsolicited would get tricked by that 100%.
Oh yeah, right.
So it's like they're freaking out, dude.
Yeah.
Like, but
it's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, my freaking Wi-Fi is, I just named my Wi-Fi Elite Smash. Like, that's just the name of my Wi-Fi.
There you go.
And I have a Google Home, and it's called Pokemon Home.
Nice.
That's what it is. That's my Wi-Fi.
Yep.
Come hack me.
My application, or my hardware, is pretty much all just named Parker, but different sizes of Parker. So like big Parker, little Parker, mini Parker, depending on their, you know, ratios to each other. So that's that. If I come, Aaron, if I think of some other ones, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I'll tweet you. If I think of one after the fact.
I feel like this evening, we're going to hang out with some friends at their house, and I want to say their neighbor has a really good one that I'm just not thinking of. So I'll check. Next question, though, comes from Bianca Wicks, who asks, what video game theme song evokes the strongest memories / emotions from you?
Pokemon. That one. It's the best one.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
that's the one that, like, if that turns on, and I'm like, I'm freaking 6 currently right now.
The tricky thing for me is, I find with music in general, the more I listen to something that has nostalgic properties, the more memories I make about it in the present. And so the weaker emotional nostalgia connection it has, and more just present memories. So there's a fine line. Like recently, some video popped up on YouTube that was emo related stuff. And like, I just gone back and listened to my high school playlist to be like, oh yeah, this is all the stuff I listen to. But like going back and listening to like Taking Back Sunday's album, like I didn't listen to them that much in high school. Like they were kind of a B tier as far as what I listened to, but like enough that when I went back and listened to them, I'm like, oh my goodness, this floods memories. But then the ones that were like A tier bands in high school, I still listen to now anyway. So it doesn't have the same, you know, like oomph. So I think there's some of that with video games too. But that said, Pokemon, and honestly, oh man, the SSX Avalanche, not SSX, 1080 Avalanche soundtrack probably also, because that one, like I listened to that, just like I would literally turn on the game and you can just like demo the music or whatever, like just go to the level select and be like, what music do you want to play, and press it. And so I would just put that on in the background and just turn on 1080 Avalanche, go to the level select, pick whatever song I was going to play with the level and just not actually hit the level, and do other things. Cause that was like in 2002 before I knew how to find music anywhere. So
true. Now finding music is too easy almost.
It's true. There's too many musics. And the last question from Twitter, Gumshot, also known as Jeremy Jr. asked,
Jerry, dude. Do you not know Jerry? You never.
Oh, Jerry from Bob's Friends.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever actually spoken to Jerry.
Yeah, I don't think you. I
know little
you
bits and
definitely
pieces
haven't
about
met
him,
Jerry.
No,
Bob's friend. The only Bob friend that you met is James. Greg wasn't there. Just James.
It's true. That is accurate.
It's true.
So he said, silly question, how big is it? Haha. Obviously, he's talking about the file size for Super Mario 3D All-Stars Collection, 4.7 gigabytes. So that's a lot of gigabytes.
So it's quite a few gigabytes, dude. It's way more gigabytes than all three of them. Well, I don't know. How big is Mario Galaxy?
I think it's
by itself. Mario Galaxy might.
I mean, it fits on a CD, so less than 700 megabytes, I'm pretty sure.
No,
that's... Hang on.
Big no. Yeah, that's not true. Because there's like dual layered disc, and it's not a CD-ROM.
You're right.
It's a DVD. So I think
on the Wii U
is like 8 gigs.
Oh, it is a DVD. You're right. Yeah. So it's 3.7 gigs.
Oh, okay.
On the Wii U eShop at least. So.
Oh, it's probably even more compressed than that. Then, let's see.
Interesting.
Mario.
Actually, that's kind of surprising because then
Galaxy file size.
Also, I didn't talk about this while you're looking that up. I didn't talk about this in the 4K conversation thing earlier, but like we've seen some stuff here and there that NVIDIA's doing with AI upscaling of games, and I'm super excited about what that means for games in the future, like DLSS or DSS something.
Well, this is saying it's around 3.8 gigs.
Okay.
So either just most of the game is straight up Mario Galaxy, or they compressed and bloated other things.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, or I remembered 4.7 wrong, which is also possible. I'm pretty sure that's right, but I could be wrong. And it is DLSS AI upscaling, which would be really cool to be able to do that with Switch stuff, because then it's like the games themselves can be. It's kind of like how they showed that with the Twilight Princess that came out on the NVIDIA Shield. It's like it looks more like Twilight Princess HD, but it's the original Twilight Princess that went through the AI upscaling thing and like just looks pretty much as good. Some bits look better than the Twilight Princess HD, and some bits look worse. So it kind of just depends on what it is. But I'm down on that.
They should have just straight up freaking remade. Twilight Princess looks murky AF.
Yeah.
It looks like, I mean, it looks like a product of its time, where it's like the browner the game, the more realistic, the better it looks. You know, like that.
Exactly.
It just
but now we've got lots of questions from Discord. You ready for these questions from Discord?
Yeah.
Here we go. Duncan asked, "Is there a specific musical instrument that I can play?" That I can use to play a magic song to make time progress faster. Asking for a friend that would really like to play a new Zelda game.
Tuba.
It's definitely the baritone.
It has the opposite effect because it sounds like it's slow, you know? So it tricks the space-time continuum, and it
does.
Oh, shoot, man, I gotta speed up.
You got to make sure
everything's too slow here. I gotta speed it up.
Make sure it's using a variable bit rate though, because that's going to be really important for it to. I'm just kidding.
It's true. Tricky, you know.
GK Dope Esquire says, I heard some YouTuber, can't remember which one, suggest that the $300 Series S. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that at all, but we'll kind of talk about that.
True.
Actually, we'll be talking about that in a second because the next question. That the $300 Series S was meant by Microsoft to be a direct competitor to the Switch. I think that person was just talking for the sake of hearing themselves. What are your thoughts?
100% they were. Next question. No, I'm joking. No, I don't think Microsoft is that dumb. Because if they were trying to compete with the Switch with that price point, they would have went lower. Because Nintendo could 100% go lower if they wanted to. And they would if they needed to. But $300 is like, okay.
I mean, it's pretty much, it's like, I think the thing they're trying to do is just make a Game Pass machine at that point. It's like make something
100%.
as cheap as possible just to get people in the door to their ecosystem that's still powerful enough to be considered next gen and all that. So,
but even then, I don't even. I think all their consoles for them are Game Pass machines.
Yes,
it's
right.
just tiering them.
This is
it's
the
like,
easiest
okay,
one. Yeah.
If you want the cheapest thing, you get an Xbox One of some sort from a retailer that still has stock. If you want something that's a little bit higher on the totem pole, get the Series S. If you want the best case scenario, like best console that we offer, get the Series X. If you want to go higher than that, build a PC.
Yep. It's true. And there it is. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And then Cowboy said, oh, good question. Will y'all be buying a Series S or X?
Yes, X, because I can't not buy the better thing if I'm given the option. The only time that I won't buy the better thing is if I know there's going to be a better thing that I like more.
Right.
So I'll buy like the crappier thing in the meantime, like this, like my freaking iPhone. I bought the iPhone 11 because I'm like, I don't like the freaking notch. But when they don't have the notch, I'll buy. So I got the cheap because I wanted a new phone. I got the 11. I'm going to get this. And then when they have a phone that doesn't have a notch, get the like best version of that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And same thing with this computer. I could have got a more spec'd out computer, but I know that they're coming out with their own silicon version of the computer. So I got this as a stopgap, and I want to probably use this to pay for that, you know, the better computer. So
I think for me, I won't get an X for sure. There's just no way. And the Series S, I think probably what's going to happen is if I've got the extra cash for it at some point, I might get a 1X because I've said before here, we don't have a Blu-ray player because we're stuck in the olden times. We just use Betamax. So
no.
Yeah, but like, so it'd be nice to have a Blu-ray player to be able to watch stuff on that. Also now that like some of the streaming services that we want to use aren't on Roku and that's all we have, like it would be nice to have that as well. But yeah, it seems like that's a good middle ground where it'd be cheaper, but have the player and stuff. If the Series S had a disc reader, probably get a Series S. But that's kind of two birds, one stone.
I'm pretty sure the 1S has
the 1S does. Yeah, but at that point it's like if I might as well get the 1X just because like if it's last gen and it's gonna if I can find it at a good price.
So it's like the best version of the okay, gotcha.
Exactly.
Because I was gonna say you could just have my S.
Oh that's true. Well maybe I'll let you know. We'll see. If by the end of the year if I don't have an Xbox anything, then it might just never happen. We'll see.
Let me know. Because I was looking like yesterday, I was debating selling my 1S because 1S on Amazon's going for like $400.
Really?
But it was too much work, and I was like, I'm not doing this.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it makes no sense. But I was like, yo, I'll freaking sell my Xbox.
I mean, I guess it's just because it's hard to find anything right now.
Like,
yeah.
But
that's crazy.
Nah, it was too much work to list it, so it's not even worth. I'd rather not have the $400 than to go through the work to make the $400.
What a time we live in. Kushal asked, I'm playing through the Metroid Prime trilogy right now. Do you think the games still hold up?
I don't know. I think that they probably do, but I haven't personally played the little bit of the ones that I have played because I played a little bit of all of them. I never finished any of them. So like I couldn't really say if they hold up because the last time I played them was back when they were relevant, you know? So
yeah, I have never played any of them. So I don't know. I mean, I played like a tiny bit of the first one, but I mean, it sounds like they do from what people say. I think if they can it's one of those things where like, obviously the game design of the games is really good for at least the people who the game design speaks to and all that. But what was I going to say? Yeah, the game design's good, but if there's any like UI tweaks or, you know, any things that need to be updated to be modernized or something, obviously the graphics will be better in any re-release right now. But just if they fix those kinds of things, then it sounds like they do. Benji890 asks, where can you get a good Philly cheesesteak?
Philly and nowhere else. But no, JK. Don't freaking go to Pat's or Geno's. Everybody's going to tell you go to Pat's or Geno's. They're freaking overrated. You know.
Totally, I hate them.
Out of all the ones that everybody's going to tell you to go to, I would say go to Tony Luke's. But like 9 times out of 10, the best that you'll find is like, you know, like a hole in the wall, like freaking mom and pop sort of situation. Not like the ones that are like popular to the point where they're almost chains.
Right. Yeah.
Those are usually the crappy ones.
Yeah. I feel like that's the case with a lot of things. So
yeah,
I'll back you up on that. But I don't know that I've ever had an actual Philly's cheesesteak.
Wow,
a Philly cheesesteak from
like freaking
Philly.
Here like a year ago.
I should have. Man, isn't that crazy? It's been
it's been around
exactly a year. Yep.
Yeah.
What a time.
It's because the world blew up.
It's crazy to think that PAX 2 was like 6 months ago. You know?
Yeah, PAX was like the last thing that actually happened.
Yep. That was it.
After that, the world was like, all right, you had enough fun. No more of that.
I haven't seen close to as many people gathering since then, and won't for a long time.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Megman asks, when the fight between Grimhain and Parker happens, who will Parker main? What will happen to Grimhain once he loses? Grimhain's not going to lose. I mean, Grimhain.
Who knows, man?
Yeah. I don't really want to say who I think you already probably know if you know, but I don't want to say I'm going to main in case, you know, like
I would say,
at the edge.
I mean, in fairness, maybe don't pick who you usually pick.
I know, that's the problem. Well, so okay, I would pick probably Young Link would be my regular main, but I'll get somebody else. I'll learn some stuff. If we set a date,
if you learn Pokemon Trainer, I'm telling you, you'll freaking destroy this man. Even though he's seen so much matches of Pokemon Trainer, I can teach you. I can make you a monster. And just because Grimhain refuses to play.
Just turning into Charizard, then I'm a monster. Great, cool, we're good.
Yeah, exactly. Charizard, I mean, for what it's worth, would be the easiest Pokemon out of the 3 to teach you how to play.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Charizard is easy mode, especially on Wi-Fi.
Yeah. I feel like I'm best with Ivysaur of them.
Ivysaur is probably the most the best rounded one. Charizard has like the highest peak at the lowest level.
Right. Yeah.
Ivysaur is just averaged out. He's pretty good. He's relatively easy to learn compared to Squirtle. Squirtle has the highest potential and the hardest to play out of the 3.
Makes sense. Then last question. This is a multi-parter from Jafra170 Fujim Time,
which I think is John Francis.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What's up? Asks the Mario 35th thing and now Breath of the Wild prequel. This seems pretty rad. So tough question. Make a prediction for how well Breath of the Wild prequel will do, then for how Mario will do.
Sales.
I'm going to read the whole thing. Then make a story prediction. What will Breath of the Wild prequel tell us that we don't know? Then how will the Breath of the Wild prequel affect the story of Breath of the Wild 2? So I think, that first one I think is sales-wise. How will Mario and the Hyrule Warriors do?
I think Mario is bare minimum selling 9 million units. Bare minimum.
Man, I was going to say 15 million by the end of the holiday.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. I'm saying like 9 million is like super low ball, like the safest of safe predictions. It's gonna sell at least that. Yeah. As far as Hyrule Warriors, I don't know. What's the last? The last one probably did like 2 or 3 million at most.
At most. I think this one's gonna sell so much better than
I think it's gonna do like 6 million.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Because even like Breath of the Wild has sold fantastically, but it was slow, which means I wonder for Breath of the Wild 2 if it's way, way, way faster because obviously everybody's on board now.
I'm more so looking at like
but Dynasty Warriors games and
how Link's Awakening performed, like games that are post Breath of the Wild, how they kind of got like a little boost. So it's like looking at the Hyrule Warrior sales and then looking at how like Link's Awakening sold after, like, because Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition came out after the Breath of the Wild, but it didn't really get the major boost that Link's Awakening did because Breath of the Wild wasn't like Breath of the Wild when that game came out, you know? And also it's the whole effect of like a lot of people that would play something like Hyrule Warriors, they're like, old game's old, you know, like so
exactly.
they didn't buy it just because the knowledge that other people played it on a platform that they didn't own.
Yeah, so I mean that the 6 million feels pretty reasonable to me. I don't know. I can't really see it. I mean, maybe breaking 10 million, but I doubt it for gameplay reasons.
Shocked. I would be big shocked if it broke 10 million. That would be the story of the year.
I think it would have to be like really stand out on a gameplay perspective within the Warriors kind of line. Like people would have to be like, it's a Warriors game, but like it's so much more than a Warriors game. That kind of a thing, you know.
People that aren't Warriors fans would have to say that because Warriors fans are going to say that 100%.
Right? Yeah, I'm sure.
They probably say that about freaking Hyrule Warriors if we're being real.
So 3D Mario, the collection, it's going to do super well.
Yes. Story
prediction. What will Breath of the Wild prequel tell us that we don't know?
I think it's
go ahead.
Well, as far as like big epiphanies and stuff like that, I don't think it's going to really do anything like that. I think it's going to more so like flesh out like things that we kind of know but don't really know. Like what are the details between like Link and Mifra or what why do you say her? Freaking Aoife.
Yeah.
Her. What was their relationship like and all that stuff, you know? And how did that enter? Like, was Zelda like freaking jealous or something, you know, like that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think for sure that how did Link and Rivali have this kind of like bitter, you know, friendship or whatever that is.
Yeah, man. Where's Fox at?
But I think it'll bring in a lot because it's a Warriors game. It'll bring in a lot of characters that were involved in the war that we didn't realize were involved in the war and that kind of thing, you know, where like maybe Talon or whatever, you know, who he's the guy at Lon Lon Ranch, right? Like maybe we do fight at Lon Lon Ranch and you fight as him for a little bit and like some stuff like that
maybe
where it's
we'll learn about like Link's house and stuff like
exactly and like there's a picture in I think it was in the Creating the Champion, but of Link and his dad and little sister or something like that. So like, and we even hear in Breath of the Wild about how Link's father was also part of the Guard and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think stuff like that could definitely happen. And this is the first time, I don't know that we've ever really met Link's parents. In anything. I feel like there's some game where they're like,
his
hey, wake
grandparents. Like his freaking grandmom is in Wind Waker.
Oh, okay.
He has a sister in that. But I don't know if it's always like a more like, you know, like distant relative. It's like an aunt or an uncle or something like that.
Yep.
Or grandma.
I mean, he feels like a kind of character that like they almost want, I mean, like Mario, same thing. They want it to be like he's an independent. He wasn't even born. He just exists. Yeah. You know, like that kind of thing. Yeah. So it would be really cool to see some of that stuff a little bit, you know, closer to home. But like what characters show up that we didn't know would be part of this. And I think the thing for me that'll be fun too is seeing the Guardians. Well, even thinking back to Breath of the Wild in the flashbacks and stuff, because I tweeted about this and then realized more recently, like, I'm excited to see the Guardians when they're on the good guys team for a while, because I think they kind of are, but Zelda didn't like fully figure out their tech by the time, like until they got taken over anyway. If I remember right, like there's some scenes where she like finally figured some stuff out, but it's like pretty rough, I feel like. So there is the little Guardian egg dude, and that'll be fun. But yeah, just a lot of that stuff. That'll be fun context for what the rest is. My only other prediction with it is I think we'll have a fake out ending at some point where it seems like this is going to be, you know, some kind of sad way is going to be the way they end it, and they end it some different sad way. I don't know what it is, but.
Or maybe it's a fake out ending in the opposite way, where it's like at first it's like, oh shoot, this might actually
they actually did win.
This is going to work.
Yeah.
But then it's like, nah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
everybody dies.
Yeah, it is that the whole premise. So it reminds me of, I mentioned in the video of like, you know, it's like movies where you know what the ending is before you watch it and then it comes back around to it. Like Moulin Rouge is like that, where the way beginning of the movie takes place, tells you how the movie ends. Then you watch the whole movie. And then when it ends like that, you're like, no, but why? And then, you know, like you go back and watch it, you're like, I hope it doesn't happen again. But I think it'll be a similar kind of thing here, hopefully, where we know what it is, but it feels like you could almost change it if you just do something a little differently.
Yep.
And then the last question, how will the Breath of the Wild prequel affect the story of Breath of the Wild 2?
I don't know if it will. Not in like a direct way. It'll make it better than if we didn't have it, because there's more context to the lore overall. But I don't think it's going to like determine any decisions that they make or like change the outcome or anything like that, because it's before the original game.
Right. I think they could tease some things where like maybe there's, you know, some storylines or threads that are planted but don't really come to fruition within this game or within Breath of the Wild. But then it's kind of the sorts of things like when you watch Lost and at the end of some season, you're like, I've got all these questions that they didn't answer. But then you think of like 4 other questions that you didn't even remember that you had that they brought up or whatever. I feel like maybe some things like that. But otherwise, yeah, I think it'll just be good things to be able to call back to in just a callback sort of way where it like doesn't really change the story they were going to tell, but changes.
I think it'll impact the original game more than it does Breath of the Wild 2.
But hopefully what it also does is just allows them the freedom to want to tell a bit more story in the first place, because again, like now things aren't being told through memory, so they can't rely on that as a storytelling mechanism. Like it's the whole thing is moving forward in Breath of the Wild 2. So like if they're going to tell a story, it's going to have to be more narrative in a different kind of sense. So fingers crossed that they do it well. I have a feeling they will.
Yeah, man.
But you know what y'all can do well? Like this video. Subscribe to Directly to You. We are trying to get more. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers on the Directly to You channel itself, because that'll be good. There's a lot of little things we're trying to do, but we're most of all just trying to have a good time and hang out with y'all and, you know, talk about Nintendo.
Yeah, tell your friends. You got friends that want to talk about Nintendo? Tell them we got a podcast and also a regular channel, but you know that already.
That's true.
Follow us on all the things like Twitter and Twitch. Follow and get the notifications for when I go live, because right now I don't have a schedule. I'll have a schedule once I have all the other stuff, because I want to make sure I have like something to offer people, right? You know, like other than just the thing of like, oh, he streams now, so like I'll subscribe because he's cool and I like him. I want to like, if you subscribe, have something to give you in that sense, you know. So once I have emotes and all the other assets and stuff that I'm commissioning, that's when I'll get a schedule.
I guess a quick question for whoever is still listening. If you're still listening, you're the kind of person that either is a supporter, a member, or whatever already, or it just subscribes to the channel and like listens and cares enough that you might be, maybe, if we provided other things. So if there are other things, AJ and I were talking about it too, like some of them would just require more time from us. Like we can do an extra video that only, you know, some people get if you're like members of the channel or something like that. But if you got any thoughts of things that you would be interested in, let us know. Maybe they won't all be feasible, but that would be interesting at least to have kind of some of that data from
it'll be good. It'll be good to know, if not something we can act on now, something we can act on later, because it's not even necessarily all time. That's the problem. A lot of it is, most of it is resources. It's just like, is it worth us, if we don't have the time, investing the money and buying the time, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So just let us know. Thanks for watching. Love you. Bye.
Bye.